Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, we've touched on this car a bunch of times. This car has a long history with us. It's had a couple of different iterations. This is a 1969 Buick Skylark. Previously, we did a bunch of suspension upgrades, chassis stiffening, we did a big block conversion, and now it's come back for what I think will probably be its final iteration. So just to kind of set the tone of where this car is headed, this is the latest acquisition for this car. This is a Wagner 427. With a 3-liter Whipple supercharger, makes over 1,000 horsepower, over 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. So this is gonna give you a really good idea of where this project is headed this time. So we got a ton of work into this. We've also put it on a roadster shop chassis. We built it from to actually just beat the shit out of it so they can't break it. And then Rob's put a tremendous amount of time into metalwork, so I'll get him to walk you through everything that he's done, and it'll sort of give you an idea just how crazy this project is and where it's going.
So what did they have to, before he dives into the details, what was done to this to get it to where it's at right now?
Everything has been done to this thing.
Okay. to the engine, you mean?
Yeah, to the engine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because the engine's kind of a big deal.
This is a huge deal.
Yeah.
So this motor basically has everything done. Want me to read the list?
Yeah, read the
I got a
specs.
list.
We got a spec sheet?
Yeah, let's.
Man, this guy came prepared.
Yeah.
I got a spec
He's got a
sheet.
spec sheet. All the nerds out there that want to know all the nitty gritty about this Wagner supercharged killer engine,
You haven't even talked
he's
about
got the
how
specs.
beautiful it is. Look
This
at
thing is amazing. As far as I'm concerned, this is the absolute top of the game.
Oh, wow.
So this is like a career moment for me. I don't think it gets any better than this.
Yeah, and another really cool thing, as like Tim was just down and you spent some time with Casey Wagner.
And he walked me through the whole thing. So this is a long list of,
Wagner.
yes.
Huh? Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was a cool thing to do.
Okay, I'm not going to show the price tag because that might scare some people away. But
Yeah.
what do we got? We have a 427 cubic inch LSX street engine with a Whipple 3-liter supercharger that makes 1,100 plus horsepower on pump gas.
On pump gas.
On pump gas. So that's jumping us off right there. So it's a brand new from GM LSX engine block with billet steel main caps. We got forged 4-inch stroke crankshaft, Wiseco boost line connecting rods with ARP hardware, Molly supercharger piston with anodized top ring groove,
2 hours later.
custom Wagner grind hydraulic roller supercharger crankshaft. We got a calico coated Clevite H series rod main bearings.
What?
Heavy duty timing set, 6-layer MLS supercharger head gaskets,
The next day,
12-point ARP head studs, Wagner CNC ported 6-bolt LS3 heads,
Wow.
manually next walk dual valve spring with titanium retainers,
4 to 6 days later.
heavy duty wall push rods, a milling oil pump with Wagner mods, proprietary mods to oil pump. What else we got? And then of course we got this crazy proprietary Wagner pulley system, which is amazing.
Gorgeous. It's jewelry.
Is this all Cerakoted then or no?
No, this
I
would
don't
all be
know.
anodized and contrast cut.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then the block's been painted, and this is what we got.
Nice. And why is that name on the side there? What does it say?
Ricochet is basically this car because it's gone and come back so many times for different versions, but like I say, I think this is going to be its final version. So that's why he's decided to name it Ricochet, because each time it just keeps coming back better and better.
Yeah, and I think this time when it ricochets back, this thing will be a killer.
Yeah.
Huh?
So
Yeah, this
yeah.
thing's a monster.
So what kind of work has to go into fitting this into that? Because it looks like
Yeah.
it's bigger than the whole car.
Yeah, there's going to be some modifications on this one.
Yeah.
So Rob designed a custom hood for it, which is going to help cover the supercharger. So that's a piece that we're working on that we've done a render for, which I think is going to look pretty cool. Like I say, it's got a roadster shop chassis, because to put this in a stock chassis car would actually just destroy it. It wouldn't even be reasonable, especially being a convertible. We had to take it to a whole nother level. So I'll let him talk you through all the amount of work that we've done to try to prevent all of that.
Yeah,
But
it's been a lot.
It's been a lot of work just to be able to make this a reasonable addition to this car.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the first things that you can visually see when you just look at the car is just how low it is. I mean, granted, the car right now is sitting on bump stops. It is going to be riding on coilovers, so no air ride for this car because this thing's built to slay. But right now we have it sitting down on bump stops so that when we get farther into the metal fabrication of the inner fenders and all of that, we know we have enough clearance no matter what. But you can see there's a pretty significant height difference from this to this right away.
Yeah.
So that means the hood's gonna require some significant modifications. And some of that is actually because we did an 1 3/4 body drop with this car onto the Roadster Shop spec chassis. Just to make it unibody stronger, better. As we can see, it's convertible, so it needs all the help it can get. So we decided to throw everything at it on that level. But yeah, so
Does it have?
Has a 9-inch Ford.
Oh, okay.
So this has a 9-inch Ford with a billet third member. So this rear end is built to hold 2,000 horsepower. Because this particular customer he doesn't abuse this stuff, but he definitely uses it. So we got to build it in a way that he's not going to be back here with broken bits all the time. So we kind of went over the top as far as the drivetrain part of it and its durability. So a lot of work's gone into making sure this thing is as strong and bulletproof as it needs to be for this particular guy. Because this is not a show car. It's going to be a show car. It'll be show worthy, but he intends to beat the hell out of it.
yeah, so I mean, with that being said, like when we get into fabricating the panels and just doing all the things required to actually build the car, because of the nature, we know how he wants to drive this thing and how it should be driven. We're gonna, provide a little bit more gap for panels, make sure bracketry and everything is strong and properly engineered. So he can just, put the pedal to the floor, light the tires up with all 1,100 horsepower, and yeah, it'll handle it all day long.
Well, it'll turn tires into smoke, but it'll handle it.
So we had to do a lot of things. We had to do a lot of things to this car. I mean, originally when it had come to us, like Tim said, it's been through our hands for a lot of upgrades over all the years that we've been working with this customer on this car. This time it was, okay, pull the trigger, let's do a full paint job, all that. And I mean, there was some reasons for why we decided to go that route anyways, rather than try to create like some sort of survivor car. I mean, there was paint blistering, there was some telltale signs that kind of showed us like, hey, we got to dig in here, we got to find out what's going on. There was a lot of damage that we found in the trunk area. Basically, the whole passenger side of the rear trunk area was completely caved in, and some other craftsman. Yeah, check this out. So we're working on creating, we're doing new quarters on it, but back to what I was saying, this whole corner of the rear of the car was completely smushed. So we had to recreate these corner top panels from scratch. And so while we're in there, we decided to make them a little tiny bit sharper than what they were before. The whole trunk was redone. So I had to remake the whole outer and inner of the trunk from scratch. And again, because we're in there, we could make it nice and tight, very precise lines. And that's kind of just setting the tone for the rest of the car. Like we're massaging it to make it better. We don't want to take away from what the 69 Skylark lines really were. We want to emphasize what they are.
It actually got a lot better.
Yeah.
Because a lot of this stuff, like the damage that he speaks of, like you can see this really cool flip and all this shape. When they had done the repair, rather than repairing it properly, from about here all the way across, they just mudded it straight across. So like upon discovery and us taking this apart and getting it blasted, it actually exposed this really cool body line and this little flip. And then we've sharpened it up and cleaned it up since. So the car's actually got a lot cooler because it was really mudded out and flat looking when it came. So the amount of metal work that he has in the back of here is extensive. It's a lot.
It took a while. It took a while to get to where we are right now. I mean, it's you know several hours of solid work. But yeah. But anyways, that's what's required sometimes. When you get into an old car, sometimes you find some things that you didn't really expect. Yeah. This is one of those examples, and while we're in there, let's just make it better than it ever was. We're kind of just getting started, so if you're watching this video and you want to see more of this, stay tuned because there's a lot more to do yet.
This one
we got a lot more sheet metal work to do, and we'll probably showcase a lot of that along the way.
So you're gonna get to see all the layers of this one, from chassis, bodywork, metalwork, drivetrain. We're doing interior. We're making some carbon pieces. There's gonna be some 3D scanning. Like, this is gonna encompass like every tool that we have in the shop.
Pretty much almost building a car from scratch.
That's pretty much
close.
it. Like a car from nothing. I mean,
With the
it
help
was
of-
worse than nothing before.
With a couple of our friends.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
So like, subscribe, and yeah, follow along. This one's gonna be an awesome one. We're excited because we get to participate with some of the top guys in the industry.
Yeah.
They've been really helpful. Always there for us when we need questions or have questions. They're always there with an answer. So it's gonna be a good one.